Well, I'm Chris Berry. I was in Youth for Tomorrow around 2009 and 10.
How do you feel when you come back here? What kind of emotions get stirred inside you?
I'm always happy to come back here and talk to the people from here. You know, they made a big impact on my life.
Tell us where you grew up and tell us a little bit about the story that brought you to Youth for Tomorrow originally.
Well, I was born in Fairfax, but I moved to Southwest Virginia for a couple years, and I was back and forth between Northern Virginia. And I was, troubled kid, a single mother. My dad wasn't in the picture. So when I was like around 12 years old, I was just rebellious, getting kicked out of school, stuff like that. And I ended up getting incarcerated for a couple of stints of time, 30 days, 60 days. And then my caseworker, my mom actually found this place and asked the social worker to if I could come here. And my mom was like praying on it, and she said, God answered her prayers, and then I was here.
Wow. What about this place do you think that she liked? What
Joe
drew?
Gibbs. She was a Redskin fan. That was the main thing she always used to say.
And what were your first impressions when you got here? Did you think this place would be good for you? Did you rebel? I mean, what were your first impressions?
Well, it was new. I was coming from a juvenile detention center, so I was, of course, happy about to be here,
Right.
And then the people just, were so warmth, welcoming, and the food was amazing. School and just everything was just like structured and perfect.
Did you have a moment when you were here, Chris, where you said, this place is going to mean a lot to me for the rest of my life? Was there any period of time? Did it happen immediately? Did you feel that way, or?
I think at the time I didn't know where I was at in life, But Youth for Tomorrow has always stuck with me throughout my life. Ever since then, no matter what situation I'm in life, I always think of Youth for Tomorrow, how it helped me, like the anger classes that I took here, for example. When I left here, I had an English award because do good in English. They made everything easier for a child who was, say, confused.
Are some of these lessons still being used? It sounds like this place has had a lifelong impact on you. And maybe you can speak on some of the people who you might remember helping you through some tough times here.
Oh, yes. Duncan Jones, Frank Jones, Dr. Tinsley, Dr. Jones, Miss Jones, pretty much everybody. And I stay in contact with multiple people from here today on Facebook or text. And, hey, how you doing? And so I appreciate that I can still hold those relationships today.
How did those relationships evolve for you when you were here? Because I would think as a young guy, you really didn't know these people. And talk about the evolution of the relationships.
Well, when I was here, I didn't really understand, what they were trying to exactly do because I was confused. I just knew I'm here, that's their job, that's what I thought. But as I got older and I said, wow, these people had a real impact and they really care about the youth, and it makes you respect them and the program and everything about it.
When did you know it was time for you to move on? I know that probably it was time for you to move on anyway, but what were your feelings at that point? And describe maybe your emotions at that point as you moved on to your next step of your life.
Right. Yeah, it was 2010, and I was happy that day. It was graduation, and I got awards. But as I left, it was kind of saddening because it's like, wow, I'm going to miss, the comfort I had.
Any of the life lessons taught by Youth for Tomorrow that came in to get you through what you needed to get through?
Oh yes, the anger thing. That was one of my main things here. I had an anger problem. So when I did that class, I always think back to just be the bigger person, stuff like that.
Right. When you see the progress that's happened out here, when you came here today to do this interview, what were your thoughts when you saw it? Because it's a lot different now than when you were here.
Oh, I was like, wow, I see they're building stuff now, and this chapel wasn't even here.
What did it make you feel? A sense of pride that you come from here?
Yeah, I'm happy that it's like a graduation class. That's how I feel like I'm part of something positive in life.
And you moved on to a job in retail since you've been back in this area. What are some of your goals coming up over the next few years?
Well, I plan on to elevate my life and my career as far as I'm a manager now, so I want to, of course, keep elevating. You know, I'd like to eventually go to school and do something like business or something to that aspect.
You have unique experiences in your life. You're still a very young man. Any advice that you can give someone? I'm sure there are lessons that you've learned, both positive and negative, that if you could pass those on, what would they be?
Just to be patient. Nothing's going to happen overnight, and you trust the process. Basically, things are going to happen in life that aren't fair, and don't take so much in that it's overwhelming because you can't control everything.
And what about faith for you? This is a very godly place. I mean, the gospel is preached here. What did that mean for you while you were here, and how have you used that since you left here?
Well, I was brought up Baptist, Christians. It was amazing. I'd always look forward to every Sunday going to church and seeing the new people come speak. And, like one guy came and he told his testimony. He was in San Quentin. And I remember that. There's nothing that I don't remember about Youth for Tomorrow.
And finally, what sense of pride, describe your sense of pride, and I know you have still been in contact with people here. It would seem like this is part of your life forever, isn't it?
It has to be. Who knows where I would be now if it wasn't for Youth for Tomorrow. Or anybody that I talk to, we all have the same agreement that if it wasn't for Youth for Tomorrow, we probably wouldn't be the people we are today.